Gaming is an industry built on experimentations. Sometimes it's brilliant or even absurd, and sometimes it's both. What's fascinating isn't just how trends appear, it's how fast they can actually dominate everything, only to vanish almost overnight, leaving behind a trail of nostalgia, forgotten hardware, and cautionary tales. These trends defined eras. They sparked console wars, inspire entire genres, and sometimes change the way that we play forever. But for every innovation that shaped the future, there are dozens of experiments that faded into obscurity, leaving us wondering if they were ahead of their time or just mistakes nobody wanted to admit. This is the story of gaming's biggest fads, forgotten gimmicks, and strange obsessions, the ones that rose like wildfire and collapsed just as fast. And to start it off, we gotta start with the biggest one of them all, the motion control mania of 2006. Nintendo dropped the Wii and gaming changed basically overnight. Suddenly, it isn't just gamers lining up for a console, and entire families who have never even touched a controller before. Bowling in the living room became a thing. Nintendo wasn't just selling a console, they were selling an entire experience everybody could understand instantly. Motion controls became the hottest trend in gaming, and within a few short years, everybody wanted a piece. Sony rushed the PlayStation Move, Microsoft dropped the Kinect, and third-party companies flooded the entire market with off-brand plastic tennis rackets and steering wheels. And for a moment, it actually worked. Kinect became one of the fastest selling consumer devices in history. The Wii dominated sales charts for years. Developers started building entire games around waving your arms and jumping in the living room. But then reality hit. The novelty kind of just wore off. The precision was inconsistent and gamers realized something. Motion controls weren't nearly as fun when you actually had to play a game like that all the time. By the time Wii U launched in 2012, the world had already moved on. Yet the ghost of this trend never truly died. You can see its DNA today in VR, AR, and even the Nintendo Switch's Joy-Con sensors. Motion controls didn't disappear, they just evolved, I guess. Then you got the Toys to Life explosion. There was a time where you couldn't walk into a store without tripping over Skylander figures. Activision cracked the code, combined physical collectibles with digital gaming, and then you have a gold mine. And for a while there, it actually worked spectacularly. Skylanders was a huge game. Disney Infinity followed, bringing characters from Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar. Nintendo joined in with Amiibo, which became instant collector's items. Kids and adults were kinda hooked for a very long time. But oversaturation killed it. Every year, companies pumped out figures, more games, and more must-have expansions. Shelves overflowed, wallets emptied, and eventually consumers just stopped caring. By 2017, Disney Infinity was dead, Skylanders disappeared, and even LEGO's version, LEGO Dimensions, quietly just shut down. Nintendo's Amiibos are still the only survivors, not because of their in-game ability, but Nintendo accidentally turned them into miniature statues for collectors. The gameplay aspects, practically irrelevant. But wait, creators, this is huge. Editing videos is about to get faster, smarter, and way easier, because CapCut AI, the AI-powered editing assistant revolutionizing video creation, is now officially coming to DaVinci Resolve this mid-September. And if you've actually been stuck spending hours trimming clips, cutting silences, and even adding captions, and searching for the perfect B-roll, CapCut AI is about to change your entire workflow. Some of the most popular features from this massively successful Premiere Pro plugin are coming to Resolve 2. Silence cutting will instantly remove awkward pauses and dead space. Animated captions, it'll generate smooth and professional captions in seconds. Automatic B-roll, CapCut will find and insert relevant footage for you, complete with a Storyblocks usage license included. And for podcasters, editing long podcast episodes, well, CapCut can do it automatically. And the best part of it, all of this is now fully integrated into DaVinci Resolve. No clunky exporting, no switching apps. CapCut works right inside of your timeline, keeping your process smooth and effortless. I've been testing it myself. It feels like I'm having a full-time editing assistant sitting next to me. A video that usually takes me 4 hours to edit is now finished in under 30 minutes. So here's the deal. CapCut AI launches mid-September, but you can skip the wait by joining the exclusive waitlist right now. Click the link below, because if you're serious about growing your channel, posting more content, and staying ahead of the game, this is your moment. CapCut AI plus DaVinci Resolve equals the future of editing. Be ready when it drops, and join the waitlist today. Then you got the plastic instrument era. The mid to late 2000s was a really weird era. If you remember this era, you remember Guitar Hero and Rock Band. At its peak, Guitar Hero 3 was bigger than some of the AAA games out at the time. People who had never touched a controller before suddenly felt like rock stars in their living rooms. Parties became concerts, and for a few years, these games dominated the charts. Then Activision got really greedy, they released too many games, too fast. Rock Band even went all in on huge song libraries and $300 band bundles. People's living rooms are filled with plastic guitars, drum kits, microphones, and DJ stands, until this fad collapsed under its own weight. By the early 2010s, the genre genre was practically dead. Activision tried rebooting Guitar Hero Live in 2015, it failed of course. Rock Band made a comeback attempt too, same story. The demand just wasn't there anymore. Once you've lived through the height of it, you realize that it was a moment in time, something special that just couldn't be replicated. And then the 3D revolution that almost didn't work, but did, but it also didn't. Because in the early 2010s, the industry became so obsessed with 3D gaming, Nintendo dropped the 3DS promising glasses-free 3D on a handheld. It worked. Sony followed up with 3D-enabled PlayStation games. Even TVs were marketed as 3D ready, hinting at a future where gaming would be fully immersive, except nobody really actually wanted it. The 3DS sold well, but not because of the 3D. In fact, most players turned the slider off within minutes. Sony quietly backed away from 3D support, and TV manufacturers stopped pushing it entirely by the mid-2010s. The technology was cool in concept, but inconvenient in practice. Gamers didn't want headaches or blurry visuals. They wanted better graphics, gameplay, and controls. Today, 3D in gaming is little more than a footnote. See, in cloud gaming is a touchy subject because it's still loading, it's good, but it's not quite as we want it to be. If you've been around long enough, you know this trend didn't start with Google Stadia or Xbox Cloud Gaming. It started with OnLive back in 2010, promising console quality gaming streamed over the internet. Critics were intrigued. Tech demos blew minds, investors saw the future, but lag killed it, internet speeds just weren't ready at the time, infrastructures just couldn't handle it, and players weren't willing to compromise performance for convenience. OnLive went under, but technically it's still live under the PlayStation Network. Fast forward a decade later, and cloud gaming is back, this time with major players like Microsoft, Nvidia, and Amazon behind it. But even now, it struggles with latency, library limitations, and consumer trust. Stadia, for all of Google's muscles, is shut down in 2023. Cloud gaming isn't dead, but it's proof that timing is everything. Then there was that time everybody tried to be Fortnite. There was a moment where every single studio on the planet thought that the future was Battle Royale. After PUBG exploded in 2017, Epic took the formula, polished it, and unleashed Fortnite. The result? A cultural phenomenon. Kids were flossing in classrooms, streamers were pulling millions of viewers, and suddenly, every publisher wanted a piece of the pie. EA gave us Apex Legends, Activision released Warzone, even games like Minecraft and Tetris jumped in. But here's the thing, for every success, there were dozens of failures. Battle Royale modes that launched, died, and disappeared within months. Ubisoft tried, Cliff Belinsky's Radical Heights tried, even Fall Guys rode the wave before briefly being swallowed by bigger fish. The trend still exists, but it's stabilized. The giants remain, and the imitators have vanished. And then for every blockbuster trend, there's those experiments so strange that they feel imaginary. You got the Nintendo e-reader, you had to scan cards to unlock games, it bombed. The U-Draw tablet, THQ basically invested a lot of money in this and went bankrupt. The iToy, it was the Kinect before the Kinect. PlayStation Move, Wonderbook, it was a weird AR experiment that asked kids to point motion controls at real books to make it come alive on screen, and nobody bought it. Dreamcast VMU, a memory card with its own screen and minigames, but it was underutilized. Nintendo's Virtual Boy, a red and black headache machine that died within a year, asymmetrical multiplayer, games like Evolve promised thrilling 4 vs 1 gameplay but collapsed with balance issues, and lack of content killed replay value. Each of these ideas came from a place of ambition, some too ahead of their time, some just poorly executed. Now here's the thing about gaming trends. Failure drives innovation. Every failed gimmick, every abandoned peripheral, every overhyped genre that came and went, they all taught developers, publishers, and players what doesn't work. Without Kinect, VR just wouldn't be here today. Without Guitar Hero's burnout, live service music games wouldn't have learned restraint. Without OnLive's implosion, Xbox Cloud Gaming wouldn't exist. Gaming survives because it's consistently reinventing itself. Some ideas are born too early, others way too late, but every trend leaves behind the lessons that shape the next wave. And that's why these stories are basically timeless, because no matter what decade you're in, the industry will always chase the next big thing, and history will always repeat itself. Gaming trends are snapshots of ambition, fleeting, powerful, and endlessly fascinating. There's proof of how quickly the industry moves, how risk and reward are inseparable, and how something can feel like the future of gaming one day and become a thrift store relic the next. When you look back at motion controls, toys to life, 3D gaming, plastic guitars, battle royale chaos, it's not just nostalgia, it's a reminder. Innovation isn't linear, gaming's future isn't predictable, and sometimes the ideas that fail today are the ones that redefine everything tomorrow.